I want to make this practically understandable for everyone so that there is no confusion here. Maybe if this is the case for you, you were raised in a survival-based childhood with fight, flight, freeze, fawn. For those of you that understand that, great. For those of you that don't, it basically means that you didn't get a healthy childhood with healthy boundaries, individuation, and differentiation. If you haven't done anything to heal that dynamic, it means that you're still in survival. Let me make this very clear. I'll try to make this as practical as possible, or even with that, as easily understandable as possible. If you were raised in a survival-based childhood with fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and you haven't done any work to heal that dynamic, that means that even as a 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old, it doesn't matter how old you are. What is important to understand here is that there is the little you that was traumatized in childhood that is still running your fucking life. The very fascinating contrast here is that there is a little you that was traumatized in the survival-based childhood that is running your life, but there's also simultaneously this higher you that pretty much desires to take the little you into a healthy integration and show that little you, hey, little guy, or hey, little girl, we can do better. We deserve better. Now, the fascinating thing is that the little you that is from the survival-based childhood with fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and all the trauma and marring and scathing that came with it, is going to be attracted to unhealthy dynamics. So say, for instance, if you, in this present day, whether you're 30, 40, 50, 60, so on and so forth, the age really doesn't matter. I guess I'll call it the infantile drive. You're unaware of it. This is also where repetition compulsion comes into play. You're unaware of this rather subconscious, unconscious drive that the little you has to continue to, of course, not knowingly, or I could say unknowingly, wreak havoc in your life because it's comfortable and familiar. So there might be a belief there, an unknown belief, that you deserve to be hurt. Well, yeah, if you learned love in survival with fight, flight, freeze, fawn, then you likely learned masochistic or even sadomasochistic love. You probably don't believe that love exists outside of pain. And yeah, it is sad and unfortunate, but what we're here to do really is heal and to understand all of the dynamics for what they really are. So, say for instance, there is the little you inside of you that's driving the 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old self. It's the little you that believes that he or she deserves to be hurt, which is why that little you is attracted to and attracting unhealthy individuals that reinforce that belief within you that you deserve to be hurt. Have you ever been in a relationship with somebody that has regularly lied to you, and you think that the answer or the solution to that is just to continue to give them chances, even though the repetition compulsion in them is going to continue to drive them to lie to you, because that is what to them is comfortable and familiar. On the journey of healing, the fascinating contrast becomes the little self, the little you that was marred and scathed in the survival-based childhood. And then simultaneously, the higher you, the higher self, that is becoming aware of all of these dynamics and is like, wait a second, let's not do that. The little you is going to be attracted to a fuck ton of fucked upness, meaning a shit ton of unhealthy dynamics. It's going to be drawn to that. It's going to want to go into that. It's the job of the higher self to see that for what it is and to reassure the self that they are worthy, or I should say, the self is worthy of better. Yeah, there's going to be this pull from the little self because the little self learned a belief in its fucked up childhood that it deserved to be hurt. That's what love is. Love is pain. That's what the little self learned in the survival based childhood. Yes, you can be loved, but what is required for you to be loved is for you to forego your boundaries and to be fucking obliterated, to be fucking violated. So, the little self is attracted to all of these fucked up dynamics in relationships. I'm trying to make this as practical for people as possible because, like, I've been doing a lot of reflecting and I've been like, yeah, I can understand that people might not understand what survival in childhood with fight, flight, freeze, fawn is. I can understand that people might not understand that there is a difference between a survival based childhood and a healthy childhood. No child is perfect. Hold on. No childhood is perfect. No parent is perfect. No child comes out of childhood with some level of marring and scathing. But there is honestly a difference between milder trauma and exceedingly severe trauma. If you learned a belief, and it might even be subconscious or unconscious, that love is painful, you were probably raised in a survival based childhood. A lot of people just carry this belief throughout life that, oh yeah, love is painful. I actually don't want it if it's not painful. I actually don't want it if I don't have to regularly feel like I'm going to lose this person because then it doesn't feel like love. I don't want it if it doesn't regularly feel like I'm going to be abandoned because it doesn't feel like love. Do you see how this makes sense and how if the little you is comfortable and familiar with the fucked up dynamics, that little you, for starters, is going to be the driving force of your life because the higher you is not that familiar to you yet. The more you integrate everything, the more familiar it becomes. The more you integrate a belief that you are actually worthy, and no, it does not depend on anyone or anything out there. It is entirely inherent, it is intrinsic within yourself. It's going to become more readily understood, more readily understandable. That's the reality of this. But it's very fascinating to be on this journey of healing and to be looking at, like, you're basically in the middle between the little you and the higher you that is, recognizing, oh wow, the little me is attracted to these unhealthy and fucked up dynamics in people. That's the little me. I'm going to consciously choose to walk with the higher me and choose to validate myself, choose to accept myself, choose to approve of myself, and to deem myself in a boundaried way, separate from the external, as worthy. Because I'm recognizing now that what I wasn't aware of before was that the little me wanted all of these fucked up dynamics because that's what it learned in childhood. It learned that it had to forego its boundaries in order to be loved. Yeah, by unhealthy people. And again, no judgment, no shame, no guilt. I'm calling it for what it is. Unhealthy is unhealthy. There's no judgment there. That's just the way that somebody is if that's the way that they are. Emotional unhealth is emotional unhealth. If you lack healthy boundaries and you regularly put yourself into toxic verbal situations with people, then that's just the way that you are. If you so choose to change, if you so choose to do the work and heal, then great, you can. But we're not going to call something something else when it is exactly that dynamic of unhealthy, because that's just the way that it is, period. You can try to flip it all you want. It's not going to change. It's like a mathematical equation. No matter how much you don't like it, 1 plus 1 will always equal 2. 2 plus 2 will always equal 4. It doesn't matter how much you don't like it. If you are an emotionally unhealthy individual and you don't like it, you have the free human agency to change your dynamic. You have to put in the work to heal, but that's the way that it is. Emotional unhealth is emotional unhealth. Now, getting back to it before I end off this video, it's absolutely fascinating to be on this journey of healing and to be recognizing, oh, wow, there's this higher self, there's this higher me that I'm now in tune with. And I'm also recognizing simultaneously that there is a little me that is attracted to all of these unhealthy dynamics in relationships because the little me learned a belief. Just example, by the way. I'm utilizing this to help people understand what this all means and how it all works. There is a belief within the little me that the little me deserves to be hurt. Now, sadly, this is very powerful. In other words, it is overpowering. In other words, the likelihood that I am to choose the path of the little me and put myself in a situation, again, just example, that is fucked up and toxic is very high because the dynamic of the little self is much more comfortable and familiar to that of the, oh, you are so worthy as you are. Yeah, right. Not that it's not true. It's just that it's not believed, at least fully. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm worthy inherently. I don't know how, but whatever. I'm going to choose the little me that is attracted to all of these unhealthy dynamics. I'm going to choose that pole. It's more so about getting comfortable with the higher self and the healthy dynamics and the, oh yeah, I am worthy intrinsically. That's fucking awesome. Nothing else outside me, nobody else outside me determines that. I do myself. So really, in every decision that you make, it's a matter of becoming aware of the pole. Oh, that's a little self pole. Oh, that's the little me. That's the pole from the little me that was attracted to unhealthy dynamics in childhood. And yes, it's very much still alive. It doesn't matter if you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what age you are. Age has nothing to do with emotional immature. Age has nothing to do with emotional maturity. You could be 90 and have the emotional maturity of a fucking 5-year-old. That's the reality of it. You could be 20 and have the emotional maturity of, I don't know, just like way up there. Like you could be emotionally mature. That's the reality of it. What is the pole? Where is it coming from? And what are you choosing? Because the little you is going to be attracted, if you were raised in survival with fight, flight, freeze, fawn, the little you is going to be attracted to the unhealthy dynamics until you sit with the little you comfort the little you are present with the little you, and you're like, no, buddy, you deserve better. And then you do the work and you reassure them they're good enough as they are, not because of anything out there, but because they're just good enough. So it's really just understanding the dynamic of the pull, because there's going to be a pull. What's getting pulled? The little unhealthy self? Again, no shame, no judgment, none of that stuff. Just seeing it for what it is. Is it the little self that chooses the unhealthy dynamics because of its sad, unfortunate beliefs of unworthiness? Now, you can sit with that and you can be like, hey, let's go over here and do better, rather than choosing to wreak havoc in our own lives because of all of these fucked up beliefs. Do you see how this works? I'm trying to make this as practical as possible, make this as approachable as possible. As much as it may seem like it's a fucking, I don't know, rocket science equation, it's not. And I will continue to do the best that I can to make this as approachable and practical for people.